Hello, my name is Mireia and I'm a URS intern, and today we're here with Nicolai, who will interview on the topic of voting rights. Hello Nicolai, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. And how are you?
Very good. Thank you very much for coming and being part of this interview. First of all, just for the audience to know who you are, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, so my name is Nicolai Boysen and I'm a board member of the European Youth Forum, working on youth participation and civic space for young people in particular.
Mm-hmm. And can you tell us a bit what are you doing in the European Youth Forum, and what are your roles and what you are doing there in general?
Yes, well, we are an umbrella organization for youth organizations in all over Europe. We have around 100 youth organizations as members, representing tens of millions of young people in those organizations. And we advocate for youth rights and for young people to have a voice. We try to be young people's voice towards decision makers and advocate on the topics that are mostly important to young people.
And what do you do to promote the democratic participation and the voting rights for young people?
I think, first of all, our member organizations do a lot in their day-to-day practice. Participating in a youth organization is participating in democracy and really living democracy also between the elections. And then what we try to do is bring those youth organizations to the table, representing youth organizations towards decision makers, trying to improve the youth participation processes in the youth dialogue and on the UN level in a lot of institutions. And then advocating to all of those who want to listen to us, basically to participate, to engage meaningfully with young people and to let them have a say in democracy.
And do you think that young people is active in the political and democratic fields?
Yes, well, very much. I think we see a lot of examples of young people being more active when it comes to protesting, both on climate, on the current Ukraine war in a lot of places. I think we see a lot of young people being active on social media, but I think there's also a lot of young people participating through democratic structures such as youth organizations, such as going to vote, writing opinion pieces for newspapers, a lot of things, and maybe it's just changing in the expression of how you do it. Maybe the slightly older generation wouldn't have been so active on social media or in the streets.
So it's adapting.
I think it's adapting, yes.
Yeah. And do you think that their voice is really heard or listened for the people that is in the power, or that it can be more and something can be more, there's something else that can be done?
Well, I think unfortunately it's far too easy to overlook what young people think. And I think one of the problems is there's a lack of young people in the political debate. There's not a lot of young candidates from the parties. There are not a lot of young parliamentarians, and they sort of set the agenda. And maybe because young people is such a small voting group, it's too easy to focus the debate on topics that are more relevant to the older generations.
And what do you think can be done to maybe increase the young participation and raise more their voice and make their voice more heard from the others?
I think the most important thing would be to give more young people the right to vote and to stand for elections. I think it would first of all be a good idea to lower the voting age, but also a good idea to lower the age at which you're allowed to run as a candidate. In some European countries, it's even even higher than the age where you can vote. In Italy, I think it's 25 before you can run for parliament.
Wow. Okay, so like really related with this, why do you think it's important for young people to participate and exercise their right to vote?
I think it's important for young people to be part of shaping the future. They're going to have to live with the consequences of political decisions for way longer than older generations have to. Right now, it's particularly important to be part of shaping the green transition. If we don't, we are the generation who will have to live with that. But I also think it's important to just make your voice heard. If you don't, someone else will decide for you. If you decide not to vote, for instance, you won't really have a say. It's just going to be someone else taking the decision for you.
Yeah, so it's important to express your opinions.
Yeah, well, you might not like the outcome if you let someone else decide.
Yeah, and also like you talk about a bit about this before. Nowadays there's this debate of maybe people it's debating of whether or not to extend the voting rights to under 18 years old. What's your opinion about this?
I think that would be an excellent idea to lower it to 16. And I think there are a lot of good arguments to lower it to 16. In most European countries, at least, you will have finished your primary education, and your primary education should really give you the basic civic education as well. You should be able to express your opinion at that time. And it's not really a requirement to have a lot of life wisdom or experience in the labor market or whatever people think is needed to vote. It's mostly just important that you have an opinion. And I think a lot of young people have that. The problem might be a lack of political self-efficacy, maybe because a lot of people think that young people are not competent to make that decision, which I think is entirely untrue and also not a requirement for someone who's older than 18. You don't really have to prove that you're competent to vote to express your opinion on a piece of paper.
So do you think that 16 years old people it's more than qualified and prepared to participate in a voting decision, right?
Yeah, I think they're perfectly capable of expressing their opinion, and I think we really ought to give them a voice by doing that. I think it might also help increasing the turnout. A lot of 16-year-olds still live at home and they're still enrolled in education, and it's a lot easier to motivate young people to vote when you're still in school and when you still live at home. Once you've moved out, it becomes much more difficult.
And do you maybe have a final message for all the young people that maybe is watching this interview?
Yeah, I think the main message is that if you don't make your voice heard and if you don't decide for yourself, someone will decide for you, and history just I think shows that they might not take the decision that most young people would want them to.
Thank you very much for this interview. That's all for today. So thank you very much for participating and agreeing to be part of this.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thanks.